Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm talking all about the luxury makeup that is actually worth the money. So I thought I would do a more broad video because I did talk about my absolute favorite luxury beauty products, but I wanted to do something where I talk about like absolute favorites in each category because it's really hard to just narrow things down to one favorite product because I feel like you have different instances where you would reach for a different product. So I thought this broad video would be a really nice one where I can talk about more products that I absolutely recommend. These are products that I would recommend to absolutely everyone. They're just my absolute favorites. And let's just get started because this is going to be a long video. I'm going to start out with foundations because for me, that's like my favorite category. That is where I spend the most money, where I think you would probably want to spend the most money because when it comes to your complexion, I think having it look its best is the most important thing. You are talking to people in person, one-on-one, and to me, that's where I want my skin to look the best. So I don't have a problem spending most of my money on foundations. And I think in general, Dior, Chanel, and Chantecaille have a really great range of foundations. Chanel, some of my favorite foundations include the Chanel Sublimage L'Essence de Teint. This is such a great, beautiful foundation. It is light, buildable to a medium coverage, has a really elegant finish to it, has more of a natural to satin finish depending what you prime your foundation with. If you just go in with your skincare products, you can probably get more of a natural finish. If you use a glowy primer, you can get a more satin finish. If you use a more mattifying primer, you can get a more natural finish. But it's just so elegant and beautiful on the skin, and it perfects in a way where it's not adding a ton of coverage, but it blurs your skin so beautifully. If you are someone with more oily skin, you might want to go for the Chanel Sublimage Le Teint. It's basically very similar to the Chanel Sublimage L'Essence de Teint, but more for my oilier skin types. If you have more things to cover up as well, this is going to give you that medium coverage straight off the bat. You can really thin it out on the skin, but this is more of that natural matte finish. It's very velvet on the skin. This is one of my favorite perfecting foundations for a special occasion. It's so lovely. If you want to spend money on a foundation, that's where I would go because that's just like the ultimate perfecting foundation. And similar vein, if you want more of that perfecting foundation, the Dior Forever Stick Foundation. I wear 2.5N. I wear B30 generally in all the Chanel foundations, but 2.5N is my perfect Dior skin match. I really like this because it offers a lot of versatility, which I really like in a foundation, and that's what I'd recommend you spend your money on. Something that's really versatile, where you can really sheer it out, or you can build it up. Therefore, you don't have to buy a lot of different foundations. But this one's going to give you a medium coverage, buildable to a medium full, but you can really, again, sheer it out on the skin if you just go in with that tiny bit of product and really thin it out. This is going to give you more of a satin finish. You can get it to be more dewy, and definitely if you have oilier skin, it's going to be more on the dewy side. But I love this because it has great longevity. Again, it offers that blurring property. It's just so beautiful on the skin. Even though it's fuller coverage, it really looks like skin. I love that one. My other favorite Chanel foundations is the Ultra Le Teint Velvet. I forgot to mention this, but if you're looking for something that's a little bit lower price that doesn't have that skincare element added into it, really great foundation. It's going to be more of that natural velvet finish. Great for every day, great for special occasions because it's more of that medium coverage, but you can sheer it out again or build it up. And in terms of Chanel, if you're looking for something lighter, I do like the Water Fresh Tint. This is just going to give you the lightest coverage. It's very sheer to a light coverage. It almost looks like nothing, but it's just going to give you that skin blurring effect without a lot of coverage. This is one of my favorite everyday foundations that I think is worth the money. And then Chantecaille. Chantecaille offers a lot of my favorite foundations. If you're looking for, again, something very natural on the skin, the Chantecaille Future Skin Oil-Free Gel Foundation. I wear the shade Cream in most Chantecaille foundations or Nude, but this is a really beautiful option. This is truly imperceptible on your skin. If you are looking for no makeup, but still gives you a decent amount of coverage, this is the one for you. Has a very beautiful natural finish. So this is something that, yeah, I just recommend if you want your skin to look like skin, but you want a little bit more coverage than the Water Fresh Tint. This truly is imperceptible, but I still would use this for a special occasion because it still does give a little bit of coverage. So it's not totally no makeup, but really beautiful natural finish. You could use this if you are oily or if you are dry. It works for all skin types. Has that blurring technology that I absolutely love. It is so beautiful. It feels so refreshing on the skin. But I also really like this Chantecaille Future Skin Cushion Foundation. Now, this is the category where I'm going to talk about the most products because, like I said, that's where I like to spend my most money, and I want to really give you a range of products. But the Future Skin Cushion Skincare Foundation is really great because, again, it's going to be one of those more versatile foundations. This has a little bit of skincare in it, so it has a little bit of that higher price tag, but this is a medium buildable to a fuller coverage. And I like that because, again, you can get that medium coverage, but you can really sheer it out on the skin so that you're going to get a light coverage as well. You can really manipulate this foundation. And what I really like about this is, again, that blurring technology. This has a filtered effect built into this foundation. So when you apply it, your pores disappear, your texture disappears on your skin, and it truly just looks so skin-like. Because, again, this has a natural finish. It doesn't lean too dewy or too matte. It's that perfect Goldilocks in between where it's that velvet natural finish. Truly has a skin-like finish. So this is going to work for a lot of different skin types as well. And I think this would be beautiful on mature skin types as well. I do wish they would expand the shade range because I don't think the shade range is that great in this one. But truly a foundation that is worth the price. I quickly want to mention just the Surratt Dewdrop Foundation because I really like this foundation as well. If you are looking for that lighter coverage, it's very similar to the Chantecaille Future Skin Gel Foundation. However, it is just a little bit more dewy on the skin, has a little bit more of that light refracting property to it. And then the last foundation I wanted to mention is the Clé de Peau Radiant Cushion Foundation Dewy. Again, I would say this coverage level is very similar to the Chantecaille, except this definitely has a more satin dewy finish to it. But I really like this because, again, you can get that same versatility like the Chantecaille. But those are all the foundations that I feel like are worth the money. And I know I mentioned a lot, and I promise I won't mention that many products in each category, but I wanted to keep it really short and sweet with the foundations, but those are all the ones that I really think are worth the money. They're truly, truly beautiful and my absolute favorites. When we're talking about concealer, I do have a few favorites as well. I really love the Givenchy Prisme Libre Skincare and Concealer. This is something that I use on my under eyes and on my face. If I'm just like running errands for the day and I want to get something quick on my skin out the door quickly, I will use this in replacement of a foundation. And it doesn't just work as a replacement for a foundation like, oh, we'll make do. It is beautiful on the complexion all over. And it's really nice on the under eyes because I am someone with quite dry skin. So I would recommend this for my drier skin types if you have mature skin as well. I think this is really great. If you're oily skin, this might be a little bit too hydrating for you. But another product that is really fantastic is the Chanel Sublimage Le Corrector U. This is Chanel's Sublimage line. So again, similar to the foundations, this does have skincare in it, so it's going to be very pricey. But I love this product because it is just really versatile. Again, you can really thin it out. It has a lot of pigment in it for a very small amount of product. It does have slight light reflecting properties to it. So it's going to refract the light ever so slightly. But what that gives is this great blurring effect under the eyes. This holds up all day long, no creasing, no fading. My mom loves this, and my mom's 66, one of her favorite concealers. Just such a great all-rounder. I do really like, well, actually no, my holy grail concealer is the Surratt Dewdrop Concealer. Again, this is my mom's favorite concealer. My mom is 66. This works great for her. She likes both this and the Chanel Sublimage. But I like this because it's so consistent all day long. You apply it fresh in the morning, and it looks just as good in the beginning of the day as it does towards the end of the day. So fantastic. Has a medium coverage, very skin-like, a natural finish. It doesn't lean too dewy or too matte. It's that perfect in-between. Really, really great product, and I love how it looks every time. This is my holy grail concealer. It's so good. I don't want to mention too many products, so I'm kind of debating between the Dior Forever Concealer and the Westman Atelier Vital Skincare Concealer. I really like both of these. If I had to choose an absolute favorite, I think I'd go with the Dior Forever Skin Correct. It's just going to give, these are very similar in coverage. However, the Westman Atelier has a little bit more light reflecting. I feel like I'm just going to mention it anyway. So Westman Atelier is really beautiful, better for drier skin types or more mature skin type. It has a little bit more hydration, a little bit more light refracting properties to it. More similar to the Chanel Sublimage, however, even more light reflecting, I want to say. Where the Dior Forever Skin Correct is a very natural finish. Again, very similar to the Surratt. I would say the Dior has more coverage though, so if you want something that really conceals, I'd go with the Dior Forever Skin Correct. I wear shade 2.5N, but this is a really great all-rounder because this works really well all over the face, similar to that Givenchy concealer that I can use all over the complexion in place of a foundation. This works really well, and I'd probably prefer that for summer months, and this would work better if you have normal/oily skin types. this will work great as a foundation replacement. So I really like both of these in terms of concealer. That's the best of the best in terms of luxury beauty, in my opinion. For powders, I just have two to mention, and I love this Clé de Peau Refining Pressed Powder. You guys will not be surprised by me mentioning this. I love this because this blurs the complexion. This will filter your skin in the most beautiful, subtle way, in a way that's not detectable that you have powder on your skin. This is a reformulated version of their powder. They did such a good job. This will not add color or coverage, so I really like this when I want my foundation to just look consistent with how it is, how I've applied it. But I just want to change the texture on my skin. I just want to add that blurring effect, and I don't want to change the appearance of color or coverage. I will reach for this. It is so, so good. I will continue to repurchase this. You can see how loved it is. And then I love the Chantecaille. This is the Perfect Blur finishing powder in terms of a powder just for all over the skin. And I like to use this for more special occasions, or if I'm having a bad skin day, because this offers a little bit of coverage. So this will alter the color and the coverage of your foundation just slightly. It will add a little bit of color and, like I stated, coverage. But this is a really beautiful perfecting powder, and it will blur the complexion just ever so slightly in a very subtle and beautiful and natural way. And I just love this for its perfecting blurring properties. So if you're looking for that ultimate blurred effect on your skin, this is something I'd recommend. It's definitely a bit more mattifying than the Clé de Peau powder as well, but truly beautiful, well-made powders that I can't recommend enough. Let's move on to bronzer. So I do have a cream bronzer to recommend, and that is the Chantecaille Sheer Glow Bronze Face Tint. This is a really great multi-purpose product, so I love this for its versatility. You can use this as a cream bronzer. You can also mix in a little bit with your foundation if your foundation's a little bit too light. Or you can use this as a skin tint just on its own. So I love that I can get different uses out of this. And I really like this as a cream bronzer and what I'm classifying it as today, because it is very sheer in its opacity. So it's not going to add a lot of color, where cream bronzers can sometimes be a little bit scary to use. This is virtually just like a skincare bronzer. It's so light on the skin. Like I said, it's very sheer in its tint. So you can see your skin through it, which is really nice when you want to use it as a bronzing product. It has a blurring technology, so it's great if you use this all over the skin as a skin tint. But again, very unique for a bronzer, because I don't have many bronzers that offer that blurring technology. It's just so beautiful and something that I would recommend. It is worth the money to me. I really do like this Dior. This is the Forever Skin Contour, the Sculpt Stick. I have the shade 0210, but I just really wish they would expand the shade range, because I actually think I want to pick up the shade 01, and I didn't pick it up originally because it's so, so, so cool toned. But I actually think mixing 01 and 02 together will give me a really beautiful look. This is just a little bit too deep for me and a little bit too warm. So I do wish they'd expand the shade range, because this is 02, but it is quite deep and quite warm. And then, like I said, 01 is very cool toned and very light. So it's going to work for a lot of fair skin tones. But I just think they came out with quite strong undertones, and that's not going to work for everyone. But besides that, if you can find a color that works for you, this formulation is beautiful. It is creamy. It sets down on the skin, so it has almost a hybrid finish, where even though this is so creamy and emollient and easy to blend, you can really sheer this out, even though this looks very scary. Like, it blends like an absolute dream. One of the easiest cream products that I have ever had the pleasure to work with, and it sets down. It doesn't move at all throughout the day, so I just adore the formula of this. I just wish there was more color options, and I wish there was no fragrance. Luxury beauty brands, can we please remove the fragrance in 2026? Because a lot of people are sensitive to it. That is what I've discovered. Now, talking about powder bronzers, it was very hard to narrow down, but I wanted to go with permanent bronzers because, again, I want this to be something you can come back to. So while I wanted to mention some Chantecaille powder bronzers, they seem to be limited edition. So I'm going to talk about this Hermes. This is the Plain Air Healthy Glow Mineral Powder in the shade 02 Atlas. This is a beautiful bronzer that is not a super high contrast bronzer. You can see it's just a little bit deeper than my chest. And I love this because this just adds that healthy glow back to the complexion. This formula is stunning. This offers different shades in this little palette here. So there are different shades of bronzer laid out throughout this. And some of the shades have a little bit of a shimmer to them, while some of them are matte. So what you get is this beautiful effect where it's not completely matte. I'd say it's a demi-matte. There's just a little bit of a sheen, but it's very, very subtle. There are no sparkles in this at all. It just warms up your complexion in the most natural way. I almost call this a skin enhancer versus a bronzer. It is just so flattering, so beautifying on the skin. It will just look like your skin is enhanced and just glowing and naturally bronzed. This is just my favorite bronzer of all time. Yes, it is so pricey, but for me, I'd rather spend the price on this bronzer than 5 mediocre bronzers. To me, this is just so beautiful. It is so elegant. The formulation is top-notch beautiful. You will not be disappointed if you get this. It is truly, truly stunning. And you know what? I am really liking this Dior Forever Nude Bronze, this reformulation. This new Dior Forever Nude Bronze has actually become a favorite bronzer, like in my top recommendations in what I would recommend from all the luxury beauty brands. I really, really like this reformulation. If I could compare it to any formula, I actually think it is the most similar to my Hermes Healthy Glow Mineral Powder. Yes, I still think the Hermes version is an elevated version, but if the 140, this is 140 Canadian dollars, if that's just out of your price range, this is a really great second option. I think the formulas are very, very similar. This is a little bit more pigmented, I want to say, and it almost has like a waxier feeling to it. It has a little bit of a grip to it, it feels like. It's very interesting, but it's incredibly finely milled. It is very, very smooth on the skin. So this is the shade O2 Light that I picked up. And the shade O2 Light is definitely, like, again, very similar to the Hermes, where it's more of a skin enhancer being versus an actual bronzer. You can get this in deeper shades, but I just wanted something that was very light. These are virtually the same color. Now, I will say the Hermes one feels a little bit silkier, where the Dior one feels a bit, like, harder pressed. It almost feels, like I said, it has that silkiness to it, but it feels like a little waxier. I don't really know how exactly to explain it, but they're very, very similar in colors. Like, that's them swatched next to each other. So if you're looking for a similar color, but it's a little bit cheaper, the Dior just it's a tiny bit darker as well, but they both have a very similar finish. They have a little bit of a glow, but it's not anything shimmery. There are no shimmer particles to this, so you can't actually detect that shimmer sitting on your skin. Where the Dior one, this is the glow formula. They came out with matte bronzers, but I prefer the glow one because it isn't actually glowy in the fact that it has shimmer particles, shimmer flecks to it. The formula just has a little bit more of that luminosity, very, very similar to, like I said, the Hermes. I would classify these as like demi-matte, where they're not necessarily glowy bronzers because they don't have that sheen to them. They don't have that actual radiance to them. But I really, really like both of those bronzers. And then if I could recommend another bronzer, I really do enjoy this Chanel Les Beige. This is the Healthy Glow Sun-Kissed Powder. The shade Light Coral is my favorite out of all the ones that they released. I really enjoy this bronzer color. So this is actually just a typical bronzer formula where it's just a pressed powder. It's a really nice pressed powder formula. It does have a more powdery kick up to it, but even though it has a powdery formula, it does not look powdery on the skin. It does not look drying on the skin. It is very silky. It is very buttery. It is very easy to apply. It has a decent amount of pigmentation, but it's very buildable on the skin. And I really like this highlighter as well in this palette. It's a very soft highlighter. It's not a typical highlighter where you're going to see detectable shimmer particles, like I stated. It's basically just a brightening powder, I would almost classify it as. It has very little detectable shimmer particles. It's just very, very, very soft. The blush is my least favorite, but I still think it's a pretty blush. I most likely like to use this as a blush topper, but I think the formula of these is very beautiful. And if you are looking for just an all-around palette, this is the palette I would suggest. And you guys know I love my Chantecaille. This is the Sunstone Real Bronze, and I have hopes that they'll release this in a limited edition summer collection, but this has been discontinued. So if you are wondering why I didn't mention it in this video, that is why. Now, blushes is a category I had a really hard time narrowing down. So I have my cream blushes, and then I have the powder blushes as well. I'm gonna try to, again, speed through this so I'm not here too long. But I really enjoy this Armani Luminous Silk Cheek Tint. I have the shade Flaming Red, and I really like this because I feel like this liquid blush is going to be very suitable for a variety of different skin tones. I think if you have oily skin, you'll really like this because it has a nice dry down to it. But if you have drier skin, it has enough emollients in the formula where it applies easily. This is ultra pigmented, so you just need a tiny little hint of product, and you can really sheer it out on the skin. I really like this because it has great longevity. This is something I will be utilizing in the spring and summer months when I want that cream effect. So I want it to look really natural on the skin. However, I want it to be long lasting. This is a great formulation. I also love this Charlotte Tilbury. This is the Pillow Talk Matte Beauty Blush Wand in the shade Pillow Talk. So this is released in some additional shades, but Pillow Talk is my personal favorite. This is just like a desaturated, a really beautiful mauvey shade. It is so gorgeous, but I really like both of these formulas. I kind of think you can't go wrong. If you are looking for your skin but better type of shade, definitely go for the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk because this is such a great shade for my skin tone. If you are around my skin tone, you will love this for a you but better kind of cheek look. So a your cheek but enhanced look. Definitely pick this up. But if you just want some more fun colors, then I would recommend the Armani. I think they have a little bit more fun colors, but these formulas, very, very similar. So you can't go wrong with either one of these. And then I also wanted to mention the Westman Atelier. These are the Baby Cheek Blush Stick. Again, no matter what color, just the color that you particularly go for more. I do have to say my favorite shade is the shade Mimi. I really like Petal as well. Petal is more of that pink, just like a classic pink shade. But Mimi is gorgeous because it's that tawny beige. This is the perfect combo of a beige, a pink, and a peach. It's that perfect tone. So if you're looking for something that, again, is like your cheeks but enhanced, that's going to pair with so many different looks because it's not too cool tone, it's not too warm tone, it's that perfect neutral. So it's going to pair well with like a goldy bronzy eye, but also it will pair well with a beautiful taupe, more cooler toned eye. I really, really like this color in particular. It's really beautiful. And I really like this formulation because, again, I think it's going to work for a lot of different people. If you have mature skin, you're going to love this because it's going to have enough of, it has an interesting texture to it where it almost, again, it almost feels like waxy a bit. And I don't mean waxy in a bad way, but I mean that it just grips to the skin. It has this gripping to it. So I really like that. And again, it's going to work well for oily skin types because it's almost going to grip to your skin. It's going to offer some longevity versus some other cream blushes, which are super duper emollient. This isn't too emollient where it's just going to fade after 3 hours. You're going to have beautiful longevity with this cream blush, especially if you're someone with dry skin. This is going to last all day long, but it's not too drying of a formula. Like this has definitely a drier formula in comparison to some cream blushes, but it's not too dry where dry skin types aren't going to love it. This definitely still has enough slip to it where you are going to love it if you have drier skin. So I just feel like it's such a good all-rounder. I love to use this in a layering technique where I apply this first and then set it down with a powder blush because then you just get a little bit more longevity. But this is just one of my favorite cream blushes because this truly has a skin finish. Some cream blushes I find, even though they can look more natural on the skin, sometimes they don't because they have such a dewy finish that it doesn't look like skin at all. But this has a natural finish where it actually has that skin finish. It's not too emollient. It's not too matte. So it's just such a perfect, lovely finish. There is no shimmer to this. It's just beautiful skin enhancing blush. And one of my favorite blushes is this Merit Blush Balm. I picked up the shade Lusitano. I also have 2 other blushes coming to me. So I'm really excited to test those out. But this is really beautiful if you want that more emollient blush. So I really actually like using this as a finishing touch. So if you've ever heard like Patrick Ta in his blush duos, he really likes applying a powder and then applying a cream over top so that you get that really beautiful skin texture back. So it brings your skin back to life versus everything looking really powdery. But a lot of the times you can't layer your products like that because the formulations just kind of clash against each other and you can actually look like you're wearing heavier makeup if you apply a cream over top of a powder. I typically advise going against that technique because you just have to be so specific with how you apply products. But this is one of the products that actually layers very well over top of powder products. So I like to just apply a little bit to my hand and apply it to the cheeks that way. This is so gorgeous because it gives you this beautiful flush on your cheeks and gives you that life back to your cheeks, that little bit of texture back so it looks natural on the skin. And it's so, this is a sheer blush. So the Westman Atelier, it has definitely a little bit more opacity to it, where this is a sheer blush. You can go in with just a little bit of product and give the softest touch of flush, but this definitely has a sheerness to it. So you can see your skin through. That's what I mean by sheerness. It's not like a full coverage product. So I really like that sheerness when I am applying it over top of makeup products. And because it's so sheer, even though this color looks very punchy, it's just going to offer just a sheer touch of color. But this shade Lusitano, it's just going to bring health back to your cheeks. This is the perfect peachy pink that I'm going to reach for over and over in the summertime. And sometimes I like to, like, say if my blush is just a little bit too cool tone for a look, you can just go in with this over top at the end of your makeup application just to warm up your cheeks. And this is just going to give life back to your cheeks. It's going to add a little bit of that warmth, so it's going to tie your look together. I really, really love this formula. I love it for its sheerness. I love it for just how it layers over top of powder products. It brings that life back, that youthfulness back to your cheeks. But I do want to say it's not the most longest lasting blush formula. It definitely fades away a little bit fast. So I find that I get the best longevity when I layer it over top of a powder. And I also don't mind that it's not that long lasting because you can just layer it throughout the day. It doesn't ever like get cakey or heavy or anything like that. But I just really love this formula. It's just not super long lasting if you're going to wear it on its own, but I don't really care. I also love to utilize this on my no makeup days because this is truly a no makeup product. Merit is known for their minimalist kind of looks. And if you want a minimalist look, where you just want that health back to your cheeks, you can just apply this as a cream blush on its own. But I typically just like using it on its own for my no makeup looks. It is so, so beautiful. I love this formula. Now for the powder blushes. So you guys know how much I love my Valentino blushes. These are some of my holy grail blushes. Shade 02 and 9, or sorry, it's just 2 and 9 are my favorites. This offers a punch of color. It's my favorite in the spring and summer. It looks scary, but it's really not if you just go in with one little dab of product. The formula is where this is at though. So choose whatever color speaks to you. This is a powder to cream formula. So you get that ease of application of a powder, but it really does melt into your complexion like a cream product would. So you don't get that detectable blush where it looks powdery on the skin or it looks heavy on the skin. This is truly a blush that melts into your complexion and looks as if you've applied a cream product. These are phenomenal. Also really loving the Chanel. This is the cream to powder blush. The shade Rose Ardente is my favorite. This is such a gorgeous, cool toned color. It pulls a little bit more neutral on me just because I'm warm, so blushes tend to pull a little bit warmer on my cheeks. But this is a very similar formula to this Valentino. It is a little bit more emollient though. Like it definitely feels more creamy. It feels more like a putty formula. So this is truly like a very, very skin finish. There is no shimmer particles to this or anything like that, but this truly is like you've applied a cream blush. However, you get that really beautiful longevity of a powder, but you get that skin-like effect that a cream has. So I love these formulas because of that effect, where you get the best of both worlds. You get the best of a powder and a best of a cream blush. So I just love that. And you don't get any of that emollients with the cream blush or it fading away from a cream blush, but you don't get that powdery effect of a powder blush. It's just such a unique formula. I love these so, so much. And then I also have to recommend these NARS blushes. So NARS reformulated their blushes. And if you're someone that just likes a matte blush formula, a typical powder formula, you don't like these fancy cream to powder formulas, you will love this blush reformulation from NARS. They did such a great job. I actually wasn't the biggest fan of the NARS blushes, the previous version, their original formula, only because I felt like they looked a little powdery on the skin, but somehow they revamped this formula so it doesn't look powdery at all on the skin. It's so gorgeous. It's a matte formula. There are absolutely no shimmer particles, but it's so smooth, so creamy, and it does such a great job of just blurring onto the skin. Like it's one of those skin blurring blushes, but it never looks powdery. It's long lasting. Really recommend these. They're gorgeous. And then finally, I wanted to mention the Givenchy Prisme Libre blushes. This is the shade 2 Taffetas Rose. I like to layer these, or Rosé. I like to layer these over top of a powder blush or a cream blush because these are definitely more of those vibrant blushes. So you know the Dior Rosy Glow blushes that are so popular? They unfortunately reformulated those so that I find them very chalky. So I feel like they just look powdery on the skin, where this gives you that beautiful vibrance like those Dior Rosy blushes are going for. However, they look so creamy on the skin. There is something ultra blurring. This gives you that soft focus, diffuse looking blush. It looks like it's like that cloud skin that people talked about. This is so, so beautiful on the complexion. It livens up your complexion in such a healthy, beautiful way. And these are just so finely milled and beautiful. If you are a fan of the Givenchy, the original the loose powder formula, this is like just having a tint to it where it was that same effect just applied to your cheeks. It is gorgeous, but there's no detectable shimmer particles in these where you can see shimmer sitting on your skin. This is as if, again, similar to these other formulas, it's a loose blush, but almost as if you'd applied a cream formula, how it melts into the skin. It doesn't look powdery at all. So the only downfall is that this is a loose blush formula, so you do have to distribute it into the pan and kind of break up the particles and then apply it to the skin. But it is very sheer in pigmentation, so it's not going to offer like a ton of opacity. It's nothing where it's going to be overwhelming when you apply it. This is really beautiful on the skin. Next we have some cream highlighters. So I just have 2 cream highlighters to mention, and they're both from Chanel because I just think Chanel knows complexion products. And this is the Chanel Balm Essentiel in the shade Sculpting. This is something that I love so much because of the effect it gives. So you can apply this over top of a full face of like powder makeup, and it won't disturb any of the makeup underneath, which is very unique because a lot of these balm highlighters, when you apply them onto the skin, they will actually remove the makeup underneath, and it will just look awkward. It will just create like this gap of no makeup and look weird. But this just gives your skin health. I really like this as well because this balm stick is just gonna add that textured appearance back to your skin of really beautiful, healthy skin versus it being a shimmer particle on your skin. Like you're not gonna get any of those shimmer flecks. It's just gonna look like glossy, healthy, hydrated skin. So, so good. If you are looking for something that actually looks like your skin texture and you are just glowing and healthy, you will love this. If you are looking for something that offers no shimmer particles, this has 0 shimmer particles, you will love this. This is just a healthy glow on your skin. Truly beautiful. However, the one thing about this is that it's not a highlighter that dries down. Your hair isn't going to get stuck to it, but it isn't going to dry down to like a powder finish. So some people might not like that. If you are looking for something that still offers that really consistent glow where there are no detectable glitter particles, you're going to want to try out the Chanel Le Beige Sheer Healthy Glow Highlighting Fluid. I have the shade Pearly Glow, but this is one of my favorite products because this again offers that really beautiful consistent sheen. This is just like a lotion basically. That's how it feels. It feels very gel based. It feels very hydrating. And this gives your skin just ever so subtle glow. You could also mix this into your foundation. You could use this as a primer. It just has a very nice cooling consistency. But this is beautiful because it gives you that really beautiful radiance. It's very subtle. Again, you're not going to see any of those detectable shimmer particles on your skin, but it is going to dry down. So if you're someone that just wants that dry down effect, you're going to, again, love this. And I love this because I can, again, layer it over top of powdered makeup and it's not going to disturb anything underneath. But I really like this on no makeup days because I still get that appearance of that healthy glow, but it's going to dry down and not remain emollient on the skin. Truly some of the best highlighters of all time. And when we're talking about powder highlighters, I know I don't want to talk about limited edition products, but this Chanel Jouer de Lumiere multi-use eyeshadow and highlighter palette is currently still available. This is a palette full of baked gelée highlighters, and if you're going to buy a powder highlighter, please let it be a baked gelée because baked gelées are just truly remarkable. They are the formula that you want to spend your money on because they look like skin. They are the types of products that when you buff them onto the skin, they turn into a cream product. They just melt on your complexion. They blend seamlessly into the skin, so there's no harsh lines. It just gives your skin the most beautiful, natural glow where it doesn't look like you've applied a powder highlighter. It just sinks and melts into the skin. It gives you that beautiful, just candlelight glow. So I love that I have a palette full of these, but you can also use these on the eyes. And on the eyes, it gives you like the glossy lid dreams of like, you know, that red carpet glow that a lot of supermodels or just celebrities have on the red carpet. This will give you that effect because, again, there are no detectable shimmer particles. You're not going to get that intermittent shimmer, that chunky glitter or anything. They're very consistent shimmer, so they just offer this beautiful sheen. They just melt into your lids and create this beautiful glossy effect. Oh, so gorgeous. I can't say enough good things about this. And then again, we have another baked gelée formula, which is this new Dior Forever Glow Luminizer in the shade 02 Gold Halo. It's actually more of a champagne shade. It's not really gold at all. It's very similar to the Chanel Rêve de Camellia. I have done a comparison. Very, very similar. It is, again, very silky to the touch, very finely milled. It's going to give you that beautiful, consistent glow where there are no detectable shimmer particles, and it's going to melt onto the complexion. And then another one of my favorite highlighters is this Clé de Peau. This is the Luminizing Face Enhancer. This is just a luxury experience. Everything from the packaging, how it's laid out is beautiful. Now, they reformulated this Luminizing Skin Enhancer or Face Enhancer. It used to be very, very subtle, almost just like a powder. It was like a powder brightener versus it being a powder highlighter, but they reformulated it. So this is a more intense version, and it is quite intense, but it's a beautiful intense highlighter because it does have the same properties of this Baked Chalet where it just melts into your complexion, but it does give you a high shine effect. So if I want something for a more special occasion, I'm going to reach for these Clé de Peau ones because they truly are, it's like a very elegant highlighter and very sophisticated, but it's still going to give you that beautiful glow. And it's just going to be a more intense effect, but it is very, very, very pretty. We're getting towards the ends of things, and I want to quickly mention some powder, some like eyeshadow palettes, and these Clé de Peau eyeshadow quads are definitely worth the money. I now have 4 of these. That's how much I love them. I just love this formulation. It is such a finely milled, buttery, easy to blend formula. If you are looking for like the ultimate luxury experience, you are going to love these. These are very buildable. They are very beginner friendly. These are mature friendly. My mom owns 3 of these palettes. And again, my mom is 66 and she adores these. These are her favorite eyeshadow palettes. These come with a beautiful primer that's almost like a putty shade. And then the rest of these are a powder eyeshadow. They are silky. They are blendable. So easy to use. Like I said, beginner friendly. You are going to love them. And the shimmers in these don't have any of those intermittent shimmers. They are a finely milled shimmer that's that sophisticated sheen that's not going to be metallic or anything like that. They're just very beautiful. Give you that glowy lid effect. You're also going to want to try out these Surratt eyeshadows. Now, Surratt offers eyeshadows that you can create your own palette. So I have created my own palette. I will list the shade names down below, but these are truly beautiful. Again, such a luxury experience. I would say they're similar to the Clé de Peau in that you get that beautiful blendability, that longevity. They're so easy to work with. They're so velvety smooth. The Surratt ones just have a little bit more pigmentation and almost feel like a little creamier. Again, Surratt offers that formula where it's almost that powder to cream formulation. So you get that ease of application of a powder, but it will melt onto your eyes, which seems weird to say, like a cream product would. So these are very mature skin friendly as well. Highly, highly recommend Surratt eyeshadows. These Chanel eyeshadows, the Ombre Essentiel multi-use long-wearing shadows, if you pick them up in the matte formulation and you just don't even want a palette and you're someone that likes a one and done, really try these out because this formulation is gorgeous as well. Very silky, finely milled, smooth, easy to blend. You will really like those. I did want to mention some of my favorite one and dones though, because I'm a one and done girly. That's typically what I do on an everyday basis. If I'm going for an everyday look, I love this Surratt Soufflé eyeshadow in the shade Ciel Doré. Oh, this is the peachy gold champagne of my dreams. It is truly such a beautiful one and done. It feels like Jell-O. That is the consistency of this, so it is very unique. And it gives you just this thin veil of this shimmer. And like I said, it's a peachy champagne shimmer. It's like a peachy champagne beige. So gorgeous. Again, it's a very consistent shimmer. It's not a lot of glitter flecks or glitter particles. So it's great for an everyday basic. So, so good. And it's a unique formulation. Very long wearing as well. Almost feels like a liquid eyeshadow. That's how long wearing it is. One I can't get enough of is this Chantecaille Mermaid Eye color in the shade Copper. If you're looking for something just a little bit more intense than the Surratt and you want something a little bit more pigmented, you're going to love this. This Chantecaille eyeshadow is a very similar formulation where it is a powder to cream. So you get that ease of application of a powder, but it really melts into the eyes. This is a very consistent shimmer, so it's not going to be a chunky, there's no glitter particles to this. It's just a very consistent sheen. So gorgeous. Even though it's called Copper, it's basically like a bronze taupe champagne gold. It's like a mix of all those. It's my perfect neutral eyeshadow. I'm wearing it today. It is stunning. I love to utilize it as a one and done or just finish off an eye makeup look with this. You will love this formula. It is so good and it's lasted me forever. And then if I am looking for something for a more special occasion, like I just want a little bit of a metallic effect, if I want a little bit of that, not necessarily a glitter, because I'm not a glitter girl, but I want just a little bit more of that intermittent shimmer, just like a little bit of that glow, that candlelight glow sort of look. You are going to love these Victoria Beckham. These are the lid lusters. My favorite shades are the shade Chiffon, which is this gorgeous champagne, or the shade Honey, which is my perfect neutral. It's like a neutral bronze. Beautiful, beautiful. Neutral bronze champagne, I'd say. Honey is probably my number one. I really love to use this. I'm going out for my sister's birthday dinner tomorrow, and this is the shade I'm going to use because it just adds this special effect to your eyes. It is so gorgeous. People will just compliment your eyeshadow because of how stunning it is. It's a really beautiful formula. So these are a little bit more finicky to apply, I want to say. Fingertips are going to work the best, or you're going to want to use a natural haired brush because that's just how they apply best. They don't apply best with synthetic brushes, I have found, but really beautiful formula if you just want that candlelight glow on your eyes. And then I did have to mention some cream eyeshadows. Victoria Beckham, these Longwear Crease Proof eyeshadow sticks. Trench is my favorite. I do wish she'd release more shades, especially in these neutral brown tones, because I don't love the shade Pecan. It's just a little bit too neutral, goes a little bit too cool toned on my skin. But Trench is beautiful for just a really neutral basic that I wear all the time as a one and done. This is such a great formula. It is creamy. It is long lasting. Once you apply it onto your eyes, it is not going anywhere. It's budge proof. It's sticking all day long, but it's really easy to blend. You have ample time to blend it before it sets down. And then I also really love this Westman Atelier, these iPods in the shade Toujours. These just come, wow, dropped one. But these just come with a little vanilla shade, a matte brown, and then we have a deeper brown. And these just work really well. These are, I would say these are a cream to powder formulation, so they apply like a cream. These are very, very flattering on the eyes because, again, they have a little bit of that emollients to it where it is basically a cream. It does dry down to a powder, but you still get that cream-like effect. So I love these. I'd recommend these for mature eyes. They are very, very sheer, slightly buildable. You're not going to get a lot of opacity or a lot of pigmentation out of this. So these are only for my natural girlies. If you're someone that likes no makeup, but you just want like a tiny, tiny bit of definition, you're going to love these. These are not for the full glam girls. You will hate these. But I love them. For me, they are long wearing, but I know a lot of people have an issue with the longevity. That could be a problem if you have oily skin. But I love how these look on my eyes because they virtually look like just me, but enhanced, like slightly enhanced. So I love this in the spring and summer months when I basically want to wear like the tiniest bit of makeup and just look ever so subtly enhanced, but not overdone ever. These are the products for you. I love them. And then my Merit, these are the Solo Shadows. I really, really like this formula. I know some people don't love them. These are very similar to the MAC paint pots. I feel like they're virtually the same formula. They are quite matte and quite pigmented, so just use the smallest amount. And I do find they work best if you just put them on one layer. When you start trying to layer them up over top of themselves, they can get a little bit gummy. But I know that sounded just awful how I described them, but I swear they're a beautiful formulation. If you just go in with one layer of product, they give you that little bit of definition. They're completely matte. Once they set, they are budge proof. They're not moving anywhere. These are a cream shadow worth the money. I love them. And then I'm going to quickly mention lip products. You guys know I love the YSL Candy Glaze. If I could only recommend one lip product, it would be this. This is virtually a clear lip balm. I've gone through, this is my third. I will continue to repurchase this. Love this. It is so, it's a very thick balm formula. So a lot of thinner textures, I feel like they just get absorbed to the lips, where this hugs your lips and it provides this like, this base of comfort, this formulation where it just hugs your lips for a long period of time. So even though it's a more glossy formula, I do find I actually get a lot of longevity out of this because it's just a thicker texture. So it just fills in your lip lines. It fills in that dryness. It keeps your lips feeling very moisturized for a long period of time. So I love that this has that thicker formula. It's so, so nice. It has just like a nice viscosity to it and it just feels so comfortable on the lips for a long period of time. The Chantecaille Lip Cheeks. My favorite shade is the shade Patience. My mom's favorite shade is the shade Bourbon Rose. If you have mature lips, dry lips, you're going to love this. This is a sheer lip balm. Basically, it's just going to give you a tint of color. So if you're someone that likes a lot of opacity, these won't be for you. These will fade away, so you're gonna have to touch up. But I love this because this feels like you've just applied a lip balm after it's worn off, so your lips actually feel better for wearing this. So, so good. If you're actually looking for a lipstick formula, this Clé de Peau, this is just the lipstick. My favorite shade is the shade number 11, Triumphant Tawny. They also have a Power Mauve, which is gorgeous if you like something a little bit more cool toned. This is so, so good. This is more of a satin formula, so it's gonna offer you just a normal pigmentation. It's not gonna be ultra long wearing because it's not matte, but it's so comfortable. And again, offers just a nice bit of hydration. I also really love these NARS Explicit lipsticks. These are so, so good. Very similar to the Merit Signature lipstick. Baby is my favorite for a very cool toned, beautiful neutral nude. But if you want something that's a bit more on the warmer side, Envy from NARS is going to give you that bit of peachiness. These formulas are almost identical. They are very lightweight on the lips. They are very sheer but buildable. They feel almost waxy, and they give you that glossy finish, but it's not super glossy. I say the NARS ones are a little bit less glossy than the Merit ones, but both of these are fantastic. And then I quickly want to mention the mascara. This Chantecaille Faux Cils Longest Lash Mascara is the one for you if you are looking for a luxury mascara. It is building, it is volumizing, it is lengthening. It doesn't flake ever, 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 no matter how old it gets. It has peptides in it that will strengthen your lashes, which I have found noticeable ever since I stopped using Latisse. Really a beautiful mascara, but if you just think $100 for a mascara is out of your price point. My next favorite mascara is the YSL. This is the Lash Clash mascara. Really love this. It gives you definitely a little bit more length and volume than the Chantecaille one, but my only issue is it slightly smudges a little bit, but I really, really like the effect, and the shade brown is so good. Chantecaille, please release this in a brown. I will be your #1 customer, and I feel like a lot of people would love the brown shade. So many people have told me that. But that is everything. Wow, that was a lot of products. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this roundup of the luxury beauty that I think is worth the money. I really wanted this more broad recommendations where you could go back to it to see all my recommendations. Obviously, I just flew through the products really fast, but all these products are my absolute favorites, and I really, really do think they're worth the money. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please let me know down below if you have any favorites. Give me like your top 5 luxury beauty products that you think are worth the money. I would love to hear from you. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Like this video if you like it, and I'll see you in my next video.